Now I'd like to look at the sample claims in the sample essay. And if we take a look at this first one, I think you'll see that it is a very good example of how simple this can be. I think we get caught up in more complex sentence structures, and what I like about this one is how short and direct it is. Notice it gives us the specific scene, the one where a character asks his father something. And then it says Faulkner uses reason to critique and mock religious faith. It's a really clever way to use both terms. There's the active verb uses. Reason is used to critique and mock religious faith. So that places it on the spectrum for us, right? We're at the reason end of the spectrum because we're critiquing and mocking religious faith. It's a really smart use of active verbs to generate a tight, concise claim. Let's look at another one. Here we have a technique that's pretty sophisticated, and I don't want you to worry about using it yet, but you're welcome to if you feel comfortable with it. And the technique here is that the author uses in the claim a literary device. Now, I think that's not always a good way to go because you then limit yourself to that literary device for the paragraph, and I think it's better not to do that so you can explore multiple devices if you wish. But there's no doubt that this works, right? So we've got the passage, the character describing the river. That tells us exactly where we are. Then we've got this use of a metaphor. But then we get the terms religious faith, no longer sufficient, and reason may be a better road. So we've got both terms, religious faith and reason, and we have a clear sense using active verbs of where this passage falls on the spectrum. For this writer, it's another example of Faulkner emphasizing reason over faith, right? So if we were to look at that spectrum model again, we would see we'd be on one end, not in the middle. So that's often easy to do. And that's why in the rubric, I tried to show you some more complicated situations. But as this paper shows, is oftentimes you will see your writer on one side of the argument or the other. Again, don't feel you have to. Your writer could be a mix at one end or the other, could bounce back and forth from paragraph to paragraph. So this is why, by the way, we don't write a thesis at the beginning. We wait to see where our passages take us. All right, let's take a look at another claim. Boy, this is another tough one. This writer is really clearly arguing that Faulkner is all about reason over faith. But again, you'll notice the use of the key elements. Here's a little descriptor of the scene when Cash is thinking about this. Then we've got the use of both terms, reason and religious faith. And the sentence does a really nice job of telling us that Faulkner is arguing that reason might provide a better lens. So here's yet another kind of sentence structure where you can follow the requirements, the model, but do so in a lot of different ways. So there's 3 sample claims from the paper. I hope that gives you another angle. Pair these 3 with the 2 on the rubric, and you've got a really good foundation for the range of kinds of claims you can play with in this paper. See you in Canvas.